Teaching cooking classes is a great way for food bloggers to get involved with their fans.
Where there's a cutting board, there's community. Because once you have people at work on a cutting board, they're going to start talking amongst themselves. It automatically breaks the ice. It's an activity and a meal. Even if you're just starting out, make an event on Eventbrite and then send that link to anyone who is interested in coming.
Hey there, I'm Jason Logston, and this is Makin Bacon, all about helping you serve your fans, grow your income, and get the most out of your blog. One of the things that works really well with food bloggers is teaching cooking classes. We already know how to teach. We write recipes so people can learn how to cook the types of food that we're cooking. And using that expertise hands-on to share it with people is a great way to make some extra money, to grow your brand, and really meet some interesting people in your community. A lot of people don't know how to get started doing that, and they get nervous about what types of things they should be doing. In a recent podcast interview, I talked to Lauren McElwain. She works for Cooking as a First Language, which is all about bringing communities together by teaching cooking classes. Because of this, she's taught a lot of cooking classes, and she's worked with a lot of people teaching classes for the first time. So I picked her brain about some tips and tricks that you can use when you go out there to start teaching some cooking classes of your own. This is something, as you were saying, you had a blog, you weren't making much money with it, and you enjoyed it as a hobby, and then you found this other outlet. And I think teaching cooking classes is something that a lot of food bloggers can do. We transmit information. So if food bloggers out there were interested in teaching classes in their local area, what type of tips or advice would you have for someone starting to explore this?
One thing that's made our life a lot easier with these cooking classes is going onto Eventbrite. Like if you're going to spend a lot of time planning this class, you're buying ingredients, you're making preparations for it. The last thing you want is for 8 people to sign up and then 7 the day of to say, oh, I can't make it. Sorry. Even if you're just starting out, make an event on Eventbrite. Figure out what price per person is best for you. And then send that link to anyone who is interested in coming, because if people go ahead and pay for it, they're already more invested in it. They're less likely to cancel last minute. That has been something that's made our life so much easier.
So Eventbrite collects the money, and do you pay them as well, or a fee per ticket?
There might be like a little fee, like it may be like $2 or $3 fee per person, but we just add that into the price of the ticket. It's not a big deal. And then you have that hooked up to your bank account and you get the payout. I would also say a good tip for a cooking class is, and this takes pressure off of you, like just so you're not the only one talking and doing something, is to make the class interactive. It is always a good idea to have lots of cutting boards. One of our catchphrases at Cooking as a First Language is, where there's a cutting board, there's community. Because once you have people at work on a cutting board, they're going to start talking amongst themselves. It automatically breaks the ice, and the environment just becomes much more laid back. Nobody's stressing. Sure, you've got some great tips to share with people, and there will be time for that. There's time for those demos. But I say just make the atmosphere as laid back and relaxed as possible by giving everybody that comes a job at some point.
I've taken a lot of different cooking classes, and I feel like the hands-on ones, you feel like you have more ownership and buy-in of what's going on. Yeah, you're more engaged.
Yeah, exactly. And then that makes such a great date night, because not only do you have a meal, you also have an activity. So instead of dinner and a movie, you've got cooking together and dinner, so it's like a 2-in-1. It's an activity and a meal.
How long do most of your classes last?
We try to keep them right at 2 hours. And that was something we had to live and learn a little bit, because at one of the Bangladeshi classes, we didn't think about the rice taking a long time to cook. And so there was kind of some downtime where people were waiting around for the rice to get done. So now we know when somebody's going to come in and teach a class, we just go ahead and say, like, if there is a step that takes a long time, please go ahead and do that step enough for everybody that's going to be here, and then just bring a small amount of ingredients to do a small demo just to show them how to do it. Like on a cooking show, like where they're like, blah, blah, blah. And then like, ooh, it's done. Like, it's kind of like that.
A little swirly thing that,
Yeah.
the time warp.
Like miraculously appears this batch of food, like from out from under the table or whatever.
I've definitely thought about that as I've been thinking about doing some more cooking classes as well, and I focus on sous vide. So it's
Yeah.
obviously you don't want to have a 72-hour class to show 72-hour short ribs. You need
Yeah.
to kind of get around that. So I've been looking at different ways. What do you normally charge for your classes?
We try to keep the price very approachable because we're all about breaking down barriers between people and building up community. So we want most people to be able to participate. So we keep the price at $22 because we're not trying to make money off of people that are coming to these classes. We just want to be able to reimburse the person who is giving us their time to come in and teach.
That's awesome. That's really inexpensive for a cooking class, especially for 2 hours of anything. That's inexpensive.
Like an activity and a meal, that's awesome. That's unheard of. That's a really cheap date night, man.
Yeah, in New York, I can't get a meal for $22, much less instructions on anything.
I know.
Since you've seen a lot of people that aren't experienced teachers now teaching classes, what are some of these gotchas that you've seen that people might run into if they haven't been teaching classes before that food bloggers should be aware of if they decide to teach a class?
I mean, I think having the larger amount prepared in advance and then doing the smaller amounts for a demo, that's kind of a aha moment that not only I've had, but some of the teachers, they've just kind of been like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes things so much easier. Like, I'm just going to prepare the large batch beforehand, and then I'll just do this smaller demo. That makes life so much easier.
I wouldn't have thought of that, I think. I could see that, I can just picture someone going, well, now we're going to peel 40 shrimp.
Yeah.
We don't need to watch this. Show us 2, and then we can move on.
Right. Some people are really bad at giving up control. They don't want to delegate the task because they know what they're doing. And I totally get that. That's totally fine. Like some people want to do everything. So just encouraging them to let some of the class attendees have a job. It's always good.
Teaching cooking classes is just one service that you can offer to your fans to bring in some extra income. If you're interested in finding some more ways, you can check out this video. It goes into a lot more depth about many of the options you have for creating products and services that can deliver massive value to your fans.